guys, welcome back. Today I'll be doing my November wrap-up, and just to let you know, in case you hear some snoring, it's because this little bit of fluff here is Skippy. Hi, Skip. And she's decided to camp out right next to me while I'm filming this. November was nonfiction reading month, and I did sort of participate in it. I read at least 3 books during that month that were nonfiction, and then I also kind of continued that with my audiobooks into December, but I'll talk about those in my December wrap-up. Overall, I read 10 books during the month. The first one I finished off was Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This is, of course, fiction. It's part of a series, a beloved book. I've been wanting to kind of get around to it for some time. It's a story of Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, brother and sister. They run a farm, and they decide to adopt an orphan boy to kind of also help out on the farm, but the orphanage mistakenly sends a girl by the name of Anne, with an E, as she likes to constantly point out. As Matthew's kind of bringing her home, wondering what his sister's going to say, he starts to kind of enjoy the constant babble that comes out of Anne's mouth. And it takes a while for her to kind of grow on Marilla. What I didn't like about this book is I just found Anne extremely annoying. She really got on my nerves, overly talkative, overly imaginative. Everything is just so, I understand that she's coming from an orphanage. Everything is just so new and exciting, and she's just overly exuberant, joy of life, and which is a wonderful characteristic to have, I suppose, but it just really got on my nerves. After a while, I just kind of waited to finish the book. As the book progressed near the end and the character kind of grew up, matured a bit more, I found it a little bit more likable, and some of the story was a bit moving towards the end, but it took a while. It took that long for it to happen and for me to get a little bit more interested in it, and by then I only gave it 3 stars, so not a beloved favorite of mine. I won't be going on with the series. As part of nonfiction, I did pick up one in Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This is the true crime book about a murder of the 4 members of the Clutter family in a small town in Kansas. And what I really found was interesting about this is the way Capote puts the reader kind of like right there. I mean, as I'm reading this, I felt like I was sitting at the table with the Clutter family, hearing their conversations, or sitting in the back seat of the cars. The 2 killers are driving across the country, kind of collecting their supplies they need for this crime they're about to take place. I felt like I was walking around the Clutter family home, and he just really puts the reader kind of right there. I do want to see the movie Capote, kind of see how he kind of, the interview process that he did with the killers and how he gathered this information and kind of created this book. He'll be sort of a character in a way in like the storytelling. It'll be interesting. But yeah, the writing was really, really intriguing, and it just kind of kept me captivated in it. I'd seen quite some time ago a bit of the original movie In Cold Blood, but I tried rewatching it after I finished this, and I just kind of couldn't get into it. So I'm hoping Capote will be more interesting, but I'm really interested to read a little bit more books by Truman Capote. Overall, I gave this one 4 stars. Then I kind of jumped back and forth between fiction and nonfiction. I picked up Hour of the Zombie, Volume 3. This is by Tsukasa Saimura. This is a really intriguing zombie story because the zombies act a bit differently. Like most of the story takes place in the school, and we're following a couple specific characters. This is our main character. I'm not going to go into all the names, but his 2 friends, his girlfriend and his best friend. Those 2 have been bitten and have the zombie virus, but our main character does not. But what he happens to see happening is that this virus sort of turns itself on and off. So sometimes his friends are completely normal, and then when, like, on the hour, it's like it kicks in and they're attacking humans. So some of the school's population have been affected, some have not, and they're kind of, battling against each other, and he's kind of caught in the middle trying to protect his friends and keep them alive and try and figure out how is this happening and how to stop it. And it's absolutely fantastic. I really love it. And the artwork is quite good. A bit gruesome at times, as you can imagine. But, yeah, I'm really rooting for these characters and curious to see how all this is going to wrap up. I gave it 4 stars. I picked up the 2nd volume of Black Butler by Yana Toboso. This one I'm not too sure about, this series. It's still early days. I'm going to give it a chance. I really love the artwork, and I love the character of Sebastian. Apparently he's some sort of demon butler. More to his background we haven't quite gotten out yet, but I'm a little confused as like who he works for. He works for the Phantom Hive family. He's the butler to a young madman, a young earl by the name of C.L. Phantom Hive. He's a little boy kind of thing. And they have, Phantom Hive sort of runs a big toy conglomerate, but they seem to be involved in other things. This particular edition, it's Jack the Ripper's running loose, and Queen Victoria calls on the Phantom Hive family to come and clear this mess up. Why would you call on a toy conglomerate? I don't understand the connection or what their place is in society, but there's some other kind of fun characters, some humor that's within it, especially with the 3 other members of the household staff that are just totally inept, and then Sebastian has to kind of come in and straighten things out all of a sudden, but the rest, I don't know. I'm still feeling my way. I have a couple other editions, other volumes that I have, so I will check them out when I get there and see what I think. But I only gave that one 3 stars. Then back into nonfiction, I finished up The Most Haunted House in England by Harry Price. This will appeal to fans of books like the Amityville Horror and things like that. I picked this one up because a while back I read a horror novel by the name of The Ghost Hunters by Neil Spring, and it's about the most haunted house, which is the Borley Rectory in England, and apparently this place is really haunted, and a man named Harry Price investigated it over the course of many years and wrote his own book. And when I heard about that, I decided to try and track down the book. This is the book. It was intriguing. It was interesting to see how he went about his investigation, even renting out Borley Rectory and having volunteers go in and observe and take notes and things like that to kind of distance himself in a way at some point. But, I mean, it is what it is. You take it with a grain of salt. To me, it was just like reading another horror novel. But kind of interesting. I gave it 3 stars. Next up, I listened to Call the Midwife. Can you see that? That's by Jennifer Worth. And there was a BBC TV series based on this book. But it is the memoir of Jennifer Worth and her years of studying midwifery in a convent when she was 22 years old. It was post-war London and the East End, and she visited slums and all sorts of areas. And basically the book is about the stories of the people she met during her work. And some of them were quite moving, some of them were very tragic, a bit gruesome, and some of the specific details that you just wanted to turn the volume down so people wouldn't overhear what you're listening to at times. But it's still a very moving story, and not something I would probably I think there's another book sequel to it and a TV series, but I probably wouldn't follow through with that. It was an intriguing story to learn about the history of midwifery and some of the things that they faced, and especially in that era, including one woman who I think she had like 24 children. God bless her. Anyway, I gave that one overall 4 stars. And then I just sort of finished up the month with reading some manga, and 2 of them were from the Ajin Demi-Human series by Gaimon Sakurai. This is volume 7 and volume 8. This is about a terrorist group of demi-humans, people who can't die, and they spawn these strange like creatures that most people can't see unless you're another demi-human, but they can attack and kill you. And this terrorist group, run by what is his name now? Sato? Oh well, I can't remember right now. Kei Nagai, though, is our main character. He is also a demi-human, and he's actually fighting on the side of humans against this terrorist to kind of bring him down. But as intriguing as it is, and the artwork's fantastic, and these volumes are really beautifully made, I'm kind of wanting it to wrap up by at least volume 10. I don't think I want it to go much further. It seems like kind of just repetitive. They're battling, they can't capture him, they can't stop him, it continues in the next one, same kind of things happen. Some of the abilities of the demi-humans are just amazing, but it's starting to wear a little thin, so I'm hoping it'll kind of wrap up fairly soon. But overall, I gave them both 4 stars. And the final 2 books I read were also manga, and in the same series. This is Attack on Titan, volume 8 and 9. These are by Hajime Isayama. If I'm pronouncing that right. Just really loving this series about these giant titans that attack and eat humans. There seems to be a lot of human eating or killing in these mangas lately. But it's just a really fascinating series. The artwork is what really is just fantastic. I'm just going to show you some details of the backgrounds. It's not just the characters. They go really into a lot of details with either the cities or the, those are some of the titans. Or even the cities and the buildings and stuff. There's just a whole lot of detail in the action scenes. Really great characters. I'm loving this series. I just literally raced through it in December, which you'll find out how many volumes I read in December of this, but I gave both of these 5 stars. So that's kind of what I read during the month of November. There'll be a lot more, like I said, a lot more manga in December. If you followed my December TBR, you'll know what a busy month this has been. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, and yep, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.